everybody. I am Coach Nick, and I will be leading you down the rabbit hole of tonight's gear night, kickoff, and other shenanigans. What do I say? I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to have a great year. Everything is wild and crazy and amazing, but we're ready to go, and training is just about to start. Get everything kicked off. But first, Tracy, who are you?
Hi. I know we're gonna have several people that I have not met before. Thank you guys for joining, and several that I recognize names, faces, and thank you so much for coming back. The CDC decided to bless us with their ruling that fully vaccinated people, no masks outside. It's time to go. Time to go. After a rough 2020 for all of us, including Team Brightside, we did manage to squeak a triathlon in there and still raise some money, but we're back. And it really could not feel better. I know a lot of you know the reason why we started Team Brightside. My husband's also on the call, Ray. And you know why we started Team Brightside. But I just wanted to really highlight the spirit of what we are based on is the attitude of our son who went through something tough. And he always said, the good thing is. And so we've all gone through something very tough this year. And the good thing is we're kicking off Team Brightside 2021. Take it away, Nick.
Bam! So, first thing that I want to talk about, we've got a great team already. There's always been this question with us about, like, how far are we going to get? How many people are so we're at 86 members as of this morning, which is fantastic. Those numbers keep going up and up and up and up and up. That's 57 people that are signed up to do the Chicago Triathlon. That is 25 people signed up to do the Brightside Invitational. That is our personal homespun, super chill, backyard barbecue sort of situation race that happens in the burbs in Northfield. Right in her backyard. You can actually see, if Tracy ducks, you can see the race course. You can see part of transition and part of the swim course. It's kind of amazing. There are two people that are signed up for the New York City Triathlon that's actually happening, and I actually bought their bibs today, and they're so stoked to get that. And one person is fundraise only, me. We also have a kids team. We have one person on a kids team thus far, and those numbers will be going up as well. If you ever wonder, like, who's on the team, so-and-so said that they were going to sign up, but I haven't seen them at any point in time, you can always go to teambrightside.com /roster, or you can go to teambrightside.com, and up in the right-hand corner, you can see the team. Click on that, scroll down, and you'll be able to see, you'll be able to play with the data a little bit. We're keeping that open so that you can see who's hit their fundraising goals, who's moving up the fundraising ladder, how many people are on each team. I know sometimes I would go to swim workouts and I would get done with a workout and I'd be like, I had a great conversation with someone in the water. There's a T in their name. This at least gives me some sort of way to go back and find folks. It's also a great way to donate, chip in a couple bucks to friends and family, or see how everybody's going. Put it in perspective with your own fundraising. Fun little thing, teambrightside.com /roster. So, COVID protocols, our new COVID protocols that Tracy alluded to. Very, very exciting that we no longer, we no longer are required by the CDC to wear masks outside. Now, since we were always going to be, if we were to gather together, we were going to be in a group working out. Athletes were never actually required to wear masks, but this actually makes a huge difference for coaches and support staff who are standing around. It's also just kind of further proof that we're heading culturally in a really great direction. as more and more people are getting vaccinated and getting that second shot and kind of getting over that hurdle. It also lets us know that the odds of having a race this year they skyrocketed with that announcement. They absolutely skyrocketed. So things are looking very, very good on that front. Now, we still don't have an indoor pool option this year. Things haven't moved along so quickly that we've been able to secure a pool, or that UIC has felt comfortable renting the pool out to outside groups. So the Chicago group especially, we are still going to be doing our first trainings, swim trainings, June 16th. We're going to go right for the lake right away, and there'll be no indoor swims. But we're really excited to get started with training. All right. So the training plan. This is very exciting. All things training. Training plan has kind of been pushed a little bit out further today. I want to talk about kind of where you can access that, what that means, and what to expect. First thing I want to talk about is the Brightside Invitational. So we had the Invitational set up as being super relaxed and really, really chill. We wanted to make, how does one say this? We want to set the bar at accessible and then build from there. So we have offerings. We have offerings for any distance pretty much that you want to do, but we focus a lot on the sprint and Olympic distances for triathlon. So if you're doing the Brightside Invitational, you're not going to get that structured training program where you have somebody breathing down your neck and saying, these are the things that I need you to do every single day. This is what you need to do within that, and here's group workouts as they happen. It's a lot more relaxed and nebulous than that. But I know that there are people that still want to make sure they're going to be successful on that race day, and folks that still want to put in the effort to make sure that they're going to do well. So for that, on this link here, if I click on it, if you go to teambrightside.com/training plan, up at the top here, you can see that little bumper for, it went away, that little bumper for folks looking for the training volume for the Team Brightside Invitational race. You can click there. That'll open up, and that's going to give you everything that you need for those two distances. It's broken down by amount of time that we would like you to do. So that first week that's coming up next week, rest on Monday, run for 15 minutes on Tuesday, swim for 20 minutes on Wednesday, bike for 20 minutes on Thursday, run for 10, rest on Friday, and then Saturday, bike for 40, and then run for 20. If you get all of those workouts in, and you get all of those subsequent workouts in, you're going to be well prepared for your race on July 17th. So you don't have to go balls to the wall. You don't even have to hit all of those benchmarks. But if training is something that you would like to do and something that you would like a little bit of structure in to guarantee that you're going to be successful, that is where you're going to find it. So that is for the Brightside Invitational. Now, for Chicago, I do want to breathe down all of my athletes' necks and make sure that they are getting exactly what I want. I want to micromanage their lives and their schedules just a little bit more. It has to do with the volume of people that are racing. It has to do with some of the mechanics of being in a race with between 5 and 25,000 other people at the exact same time. It has to do with some of the mechanics of being in the lake and doing a lake swim as opposed to the Invitational that's a pool swim. So we definitely structure the workouts for the Chicago training plan much more in depth. So there's a few places that you can get them. Similar to the Brightside Invitational, you can go to teambrightside.com/training plans, and that's going to give you kind of an overarching view of workouts for the next month or more. It's currently only up to June 1st. It's just showing the month of May. It's going to be scheduled out through August in the next couple of weeks. There's a couple of shoes that we need to drop, or that need to drop first before we can feel fully ready to rock and roll and release those. So the sprint distance at the top, the Olympic distance as the bottom, you can kind of look and see any day, figure out what's going on. And then on whatever day, let's say, so Saturday is our first ride. It's a group bike. If you click on that and then you click on the workout itself, it's going to give you all of the information. It's going to tell you where we're going to meet up. It's going to tell you how long to expect to ride. It's going to give you any other details as well. Now, for these group bike workouts, group run workouts, anything that's done with other people, if you can't make those, I'm also going to write in what you should do as a workout if you can't kind of meet up with us as a group. So you're always going to be covered. Group workouts aren't required. It's just something that we find a lot of people really want because it helps people to be accountable. It helps people to stay on track. And it really kind of, it ups your game a little bit. It allows you to be a little bit competitional as well, which I absolutely love. So all of the workouts for May are there, and they're structured that way. Does anyone have any questions on this?
I have a question.
Yes, Tracy.
Are you going to be also emailing a daily workout?
Yes, so that is my next slide. In addition to the overarching structure that you can find there on the website, participants are also going to get, Chicago Triathlon participants are also going to get a daily email. And that daily email is going to give you important announcements at the top. There's actually usually not that many important announcements, but there might be some reminders. And then it's going to give you the workout for that day and the workout for the next day. So that goes out in the morning. I think it goes out 4 in the morning. You'll get whatever your workout is for that day and then the upcoming one so you can plan a little bit better. I know for people that actually want to plan even farther in advance, using that online calendar is a good resource. We're always going to be doing our group workouts on Saturdays. And they're going to alternate between group bikes or group runs. So our swims starting in June are going to be on Wednesdays. But if you want to just kind of click through those Saturdays, you can see, kind of get a vibe of what those group workouts are going to look like, where you're going to meet, and what time. It gets pretty consistent. And after a while, you won't even need to look at the calendar to know what's happening. But that will always be there for you. So you have the website that has the calendar for you. You have your daily emails that also give you your training plan that way. We want to make sure that you're always getting this. If you find that by next week, somewhere in the middle of next week, you haven't seen any emails from us, go ahead and give me a shout out. Give me a text or shoot me a personal email and let me know, hey, I'm not seeing anything. You might want to check your spam box first. Sometimes they get kind of punted over to people's spam until they get whitelisted. But we will figure it out. There's times when I have people's email address wrong. I type it into the machine at google.com instead of gmail.com. And then I don't know what I'm doing. That happens. So right around next week, I mean, the first emails are going out on Friday, but next week, if you don't see anything for sure, do let me know. Give me a holler. Anybody else got any questions on the training plan before we go to gear? Good. Sorry that it's weird. As an instructor, I don't like dead air, but I know I want to get everyone a chance to actually speak if you have any questions at all. So let's talk gear. Gear is something that most triathletes will be able to talk to you about for a long, long time. triathlon is a sport that has a lot of really wealthy people that are involved in it, and they like to accumulate lots of gear. There are a lot of other athletes like myself on the other end of the spectrum that just kind of piece things together to get by. But the fact that there are like CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that are doing Ironmans, that they'll definitely, that's why they can sell $25,000 bikes, and that's why they do sell $25,000 bikes. But I'm going to get you through this season. We're going to talk about the things that you need to have, the things that I would recommend you have, and then I'm going to kind of simmer down after that. If there are things that you're thinking about getting and you have questions about, reach out to me, because again, I will talk about this stuff ad nauseum, but I want to get you done, fed, and to bed before too much later. So the mandatory things that you need, the mandatory things, bare minimum, as required by USAT, the governing body of the sport of triathlon. You need a bike. You need a bike helmet. You need clothes to swim, bike, run in. For us, that's known as our kit. And you need shoes. That is the bare minimum that you must possess in order to compete in the sport of triathlon. I have shoes in italics because this can be oddly controversial. There are those barefoot runners out there that really like to run with no shoes on at all. That's actually not legal by the sport of triathlon as governed by USAT, but since the North Shore Triathlon is not sanctioned as a USAT event, if you want to run barefoot in that race, you go ahead and run barefoot in that race. That's right. You're welcome. I'm going to let you do that. Everybody else, guys, you got to wear shoes. So this is the bare minimum that's mandatory. Recommended to race and train in, I do recommend that you buy goggles. Kevin Ritz, if you get a chance to talk to him, will tell you otherwise. I do recommend that you get a wetsuit. The lake is very cold, especially early season, so getting a wetsuit is a great idea. Also an asterisk because it's a pool swim for the Northfield Triathlon, so you can't wear a wetsuit in the pool. You'll overheat and die. And then I won't get paid. You need water bottles for training. I need to keep you hydrated. CO2 and accessories for your bike. That's in case that you're out on the trail or out in the field and you get a flat. This way that you can repair it and get back home. A phone case or watch, something that will allow you to keep the time so that you know how long that you've been riding, how long that you've been running, or to keep track of your intervals. Sunglasses and a hat, something to shield your face so that you don't get skin cancer, and nutrition. Those are the things that I would recommend. I want to dig into shoes first of all. Running shoes. They're hands down the most important thing of keeping you free of injury this season. I just can't stress that enough. Most injuries in triathlon happen in running. They're usually overuse injuries or mechanical injuries due to poor running form, and a lot of times the culprit in those cases are shoes. If you are a runner, if you're someone that's been running, your running shoe has about, I'd say about 300 miles worth of life on them. If you track all of the steps that you take in those shoes, you might be surprised that you will hit that 300 to 400 miles quickly. It adds up really, really quickly. I usually run through 2 to 3 pairs per season. I highly recommend getting fit for your shoe, going into a shoe shop. All of the ones that I found in Chicago are taking appointments that you can go in and you can get fit to the shoe. They're going to look at the mechanics of your running. They're going to look at the mechanics of your walking and your movement. They're going to talk to you about any injuries that you have. They'll set some price points with you, and then they will give their recommendations of shoes. It's a process that I can't stress enough that I recommend. At least do it once for your first pair of shoes. The second thing is don't buy shoes based on color. Not yet. Not yet. I think that as a triathlon coach, I'm required to say don't buy running shoes based on color. Otherwise, I lose my license to coach triathlon. It's true, don't do it. But if it fits and you have some color options, then I mean, go ahead, play with it. Running shoes are about $100 minimum. Sometimes you can find them cheaper if a pair is on clearance, if a pair is from last season. But think about $100 minimum for your running shoes. I linked to these two pairs. Brooks is a great brand. They're a brand that I like. I run with stability shoes, or at least start the season with stability shoes if I haven't been running a lot. That makes sure that my ankle is fully supported. I've got a decent amount of cushioning in there. It's going to give me some lean forward, and it's going to keep me uninjured. That's the men's price at the top. That bottom one is women's. It's on clearance. I think it's only in size 6, but it's a similar brand with a similar idea. In the link there, Fleet Feet Chicago and Roadrunner Sports are the two places in Chicago that I would recommend getting an appointment to get a shoe fit. The whole process takes maybe 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, and you can be in and out of there. This presentation, by the way, is going to go out in the first email to all of my athletes, or a link to it. If you go to teambrightside.com/train at the top there, you'll see a thing that says athlete resources. Click on athlete resources. You can also find a copy of this, and all of those links work. The links of the products will take you if you want to purchase them as well. So Fleet Feet Chicago, Roadrunner Sports, running shoes, highly recommend it. Next thing. So bike. This is a big one. This is a big one. I've talked with a lot of you already about bikes for this season. And this is going to be a little bit of a synthesis on that. But let me start by saying that if you have a bike and you're thinking of using it, the bike that you own is probably going to work for the race. For it to be street legal for the race, it has to be upright, which means it can't be a recumbent. It can't have a motor, so no e-bikes, even if you're not using it during the race. It's got to have a flywheel, so that means that you've got to be able to coast on it. So if you're pedal, and if you go to coast and you flip over your handlebars, you probably don't have a flywheel. You will need one. And it's got to have 2 working brakes on the front and brakes on the back. Boop, 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 just a piece of safety. Most folks use road bikes. A lot of people use hybrids. There are also mountain bikes. You'll see people with beach cruisers as well. As long as it meets that criteria in the middle, it's going to work. People do use divvy bikes, mostly for the super sprint, because those bikes are so incredibly heavy. Getting them over the overpasses of Lakeshore Drive are a bear. But if you are committed and you want to use a divvy bike, I mean, by all means. But the bike that you have is probably going to work out best. Now, we do have a bike rental program. I talked to Kevin Rick today. We got some of the issues at least pushed a little bit further down the road. We have had such a tremendous relationship with Lakeshore Bikes for the run of Team Brightside as an entity. And they've allowed us to have our athletes pay one fee and rent a bike for the entire season. It's been miraculous. There's no other program that I know that's like it in any city in the country. COVID happened, however. Lakeshore Bikes sold and is now under a new owner. And if you add on top of that there is a bike shortage in the United States right now, there's a little bit of drama and this is a little bit messy. So we do still have a bike rental program, but for the moment, you can only rent it for 1 month at a time. That is $280 for a road bike for 1 month, or $190 for a hybrid bike for 1 month. We are hoping that people will be able to extend that month out at the end of it, but that's one of those things we're going to have to see when that time comes. So right now, I would just think for those prices, you would have that use of that bike for a month. This might be a good program for somebody who wants to start training on May 1st and is thinking about buying a bike, but needs to either build up the capital to do so, or they put a pre-order for a bike and it's not going to be ready for a couple of weeks, or they're still looking for that perfect bike to ride. Either way, if you're interested in this program, email Kevin Ritt directly. His email there is at the bottom, and he will hook you up with the owner of Lakeshore Bikes to make sure that you're getting what you need. And again, this is if you want to rent a bike. So beyond that, let's talk bike purchase. Again, there is a bike shortage in the United States right now due to COVID. Everybody got out last year and decided they were going to ride bikes and buy bikes and all of that good stuff, which is fantastic for the bike industry. What that meant is for people who are going into athletics and need a bike, there is quite a shortage. But this situation is in flux, dramatic flux. I think that we're starting to see the market start to get saturated with the bikes that they started to really produce when they saw that there was going to be a bike shortage. I'll talk about that in a minute. So when thinking about buying a bike, think if you're going to want a road bike or a hybrid bike. Hybrid bike is the one that's pictured there on top. It's got the straight handlebars. It looks like a mountain bike. You sit pretty vertically on that bad boy. It's very comfortable. A road bike is the one that's at the bottom. It has the drop bars. People lean forward when they ride a road bike. It is, I guess, less comfortable, but it's faster. It's a faster bike. The thing that I would think about when you're looking into buying a bike or thinking about buying a bike is think about the long term of it. Yes, you want a bike that you can race the triathlon in this season, but what else do you want from your bike? If you're like, I can only buy one bike my entire life, and my family is definitely going to want to ride with me out on the Lakeshore Path, I would consider getting a hybrid. If you're going to ride with people that I like to call slow people, like your family, then you might want to get something comfortable like a hybrid. If you want to be fast, then get a road bike. If you're thinking about commuting, get a road bike. If you're thinking about doing any longer distances at all, get a road bike. They're not really uncomfortable. Hybrids tend to start at around $700. Put that number in your brain space. And road bikes at around $900. I put those two prices out there because that's honestly what I think, and that is how I feel. That being said, I also put two bikes right next to it that are less than that price. That hybrid at the top for $499, it's not even on sale. That's a pre-order from Cozy. It's a great brand. Jamis, that was my first bike that I raced Chicago Triathlon with in 2010. $499 is a great price. Again, when I send this out, you'll be able to click that link and it'll take you right to their inventory. And that giant bike, that road bike for $774, again, top notch. That's a really great bike at a great price. So that's why I say I'm not sure if we're starting to see the market turn a little bit as more bikes come into it, but when you can find inventory, prices tend to be pretty good. But it's when you can find the inventory. Most bike shops are having a hard time keeping these in stock. If you're going to buy a bike, what's probably going to happen, you're going to go, you're going to talk to them, they will get you set up with a good bike for you, you'll agree on it, they'll put an order in. You'll probably put a down payment on it, and they'll call you when it's in stock and it's been built. So why shop local? I'm a big believer in shopping your local bike shop for a few reasons. But the biggest is that they'll remember you, they'll fit you to your bike to make the adjustments that's needed with the seat height, with the pedals, with the handlebars to make sure that you're safe and uninjured. Also, if anything goes wrong with it, they're there to look at it and probably fix it up for you. Not all bike shops are created equal, but it's been my experience that when you buy the bike from them, they're really keen to help you over the life of that bike. My two favorite shops in Chicago, the first one is Johnny Sprockets. They have a store in Andersonville and Lakeview. I loved the store in Lakeview. That's where I bought my tri bike. They were fantastic to work with. They're a little bit more. They're a little bit on the higher end of the spectrum. Not that much higher because I bought my bike from them, but they're a little bit more service oriented and performance oriented. The other place I would go is Cozy. I've taken so many Brightside athletes to Cozy and we've gone bike shopping together. They usually have a great inventory. They have a really, really knowledgeable staff. And both of these bike shops aren't going to try and pester you into getting something that you can't afford. They do really good with budgets. I think that's everything that I have on the bikes themselves. Does anyone have any questions about bikes themselves? Great. If you do, you can always email me. Other bike things, if you buy a bike, if you rent a bike, if you have a bike, do look down and make sure that that has a water bottle cage on it where you can put a water bottle in while you're riding. Really, really important that you have access to that. If you don't have a water bottle and a water bottle cage, you can get them for about 15 bucks. Most bikes have a slot for 2 water bottle holders. I do recommend getting 2 cages to 2 water bottles. Water fountains, the last time I checked, still weren't on the lakefront path. And any place here in Baltimore where I'm riding, water fountains are definitely not on at all. So having more liquid with you as you do your workout is going to be great because you can't depend on those things being there. I also recommend getting a flat tire changing kit. That's CO2 and accessories, tire levers, and a spare tube. That's just in case anything happens, and that is my recommendation. If I were to open this up to people who are on the team, have been on the team for years and years in the past, and ask if they had these things, at least 50% would say no. If I ask them how many of you have had to change your own flat tire, definitely 90% or more would say no. But it's been my experience that if you don't have it, you'll need it. So I recommend getting those. Again, those links will be in there. And a helmet. You will need a helmet. We won't let you train with us without a helmet, so you got to have one. You got to wear it. For regulations, if you buy it in a bike shop, it's firm. It's a good helmet, and you're fine. When I was putting this presentation together, I was actually kind of shocked that helmets were the thing that were really ball-bustingly high. Like, I had to scour to find this one for 45 bucks, and it was low end. So, and it's on Bike Nash Bar, which is a biking outlet, meaning we sell cheap crap from China. So I am really surprised at that. Who knew? So bike helmets, those are the other things I recommend with that. If there are no questions on bikes.
I have a question on the helmet.
Yeah.
What's the life span of a helmet? Is it similar to like children's car seats? Like it's only good for so many years?
Yes, and I don't know the answer to that. I want to say it's 6 years. Or if you've ever been in an accident with your bike helmet, then it's done. You're supposed to replace it immediately. If there's any wear and tear or cracks on it, that's another one. It's done. Replace it immediately. But I believe the shelf life on those is 6 years. That's a great question. The first training email, I will answer that in.
Cool. Thanks.
You are welcome. Okay. So wetsuits. You definitely want a wetsuit. Wetsuits provide a level of buoyancy in the water that makes swimming easier. Wetsuits provide a level of warmth in the water that will allow you to swim comfortably-ish in 60-degree water. Those are the two reasons that you want a wetsuit. The buoyancy, making swimming easier, and the warmth, especially as we do early season swimming in Lake Michigan. So the difference between a $90 wetsuit and a $1,200 wetsuit is the price. There's really no difference in wetsuits. You'll be able to see it quite a bit. They'll talk about seams, they'll talk about panels, but the truth of the matter is it's the same material that's coming from the same distributors. As soon as they put their logo on it, it gets marked up by hundreds of dollars. So the wetsuit that you want is one that fits you and meets your price point. If you're going to feel really, really good in a $1,200 wetsuit, by all means, I want you to buy it. If that's going to make you feel great and you got $1,200 for it, go for it. If you can find one on Craigslist for $40 and it's a triathlon wetsuit, do it. Buy it. Yeah, absolutely. If that's going to be, if it does the trick, then it does the trick. Full sleeve versus sleeveless. This is something that's a matter of personal taste. I find that many people prefer a full-sleeved wetsuit, or like the one that Rob is wearing over to the right, the longer one. It provides a little bit more warmth and comfort. The difference is that people who are swimmers, or people who are very, very comfortable swimming, or people that have a background in swimming, in that case, I really recommend a sleeveless wetsuit. That takes away any constriction from your arms, gives you a lot more mobility that way. You do lose a little bit of heat. The first 3 to 5 minutes of your swim are a little bit worse without it, but you'll warm up, it's going to be fine. Those are the differences between the two. Price you can find, I think like 20 to 30 bucks. Full sleeve is, or excuse me, sleeveless is about $20 to $30 cheaper than a full sleeve suit. That's what I find. In this situation with wetsuits, I don't recommend buying local as much as I do with some of the other things. The reason is because you can find much better deals online. Brick and mortar stores have to charge a markup just to cover their rent costs. Also, there's not much benefit with a brick and mortar store being able to swap out or replace a wetsuit if it doesn't fit or if it gets a rip in it. Since they can't resell it, they can just sell you another one. So you can usually find the level of customer service with wetsuits about the same online. I have been really impressed with wetsuitoutlet.com this season. Their banner images are wetsuits that our entire team used to wear back when we were fit to race with Team in Training, way back when. Those were about $90. On the wetsuit, on that site, you can find suits that are under $120. They're great. You can also find cheaper versions of this really expensive wetsuits. And if you have a kid that needs a wetsuit, you can find them a wetsuit for 10 to 15 bucks. It's insane. That's my recommendation for wetsuit. We don't need them until our first open water swim. Our first open water swim for Chicago team is June 16th. Does anyone have any questions on wetsuits?
I do have a question because I was looking into them. What thickness of wetsuit do we need?
Great question. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So, yes. Were you looking on a site like wetsuitoutlet.com? Do you know where you were looking for them?
I don't know where I was looking. Probably a couple different sites that just had a bunch.
Excellent. Okay, so make sure if they're talking about thickness especially, there's two things that are happening. One, they could be talking about a diving wetsuit. Diving wetsuits, while they are wetsuits, they are different. They actually absorb water They won't make you buoyant. They could make you sink. You make sure that you're looking for shiny, really shiny black, all neoprene wetsuits. If it says triathlon wetsuit, then you should be okay. The other time that they're going to talk about thickness a little bit is if they are, how does one say, micromanaging between costs or, yeah. So some of the more expensive wetsuits will talk about different thicknesses in different areas, like a 6mm leg versus a 3mm wrist. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you find one that you're like, hey, I love this one and I'm going to pull the trigger, I just really hope it's not a diving wetsuit, you can always shoot it to me in an email or a text and I will sign off on it, send it back your way. Just
Perfect.
to be sure. Because I also like to micromanage. Goggles. Anyone else have a question on wetsuits? Okay. Goggles. This is kind of the last thing that I have as far as gear, because this one I get a lot of questions on. The best pair of goggles are the ones that are going to work for you. Don't get into the habit of thinking that you're going to buy a pair of goggles at the beginning of the season and you're not going to need one ever again. Goggles, they leak, they break, they start to fog to the point where you put them on and within 30 seconds they fog up and you have to stop swimming a lot to get them unfogged. In those situations, your goggles are ready to be trashed. It's time to just throw them on away. If any goggle says they're anti-leak, that's cute. If they say they're anti-fog, they're just lying. They all kind of use these terms to get you to buy the goggles. Don't pay more for those two things because it really, they're just terms used for marketing. Finding a pair that really works for you, it can take a few tries. But just know that going into it, get a pair, give them a couple swims. If you like them, great. Keep them. If you like them, great. You find a sale on them, buy 5 pairs of them. If you get them, you hate them, chuck them, try a new one. These are the 3 on the right. I wear Swedes at the top. They're much maligned, but they're really popular in the swimming community, sometimes called socket rockets. They have nothing to really give you any cushioning in your eyeballs. They hurt, but they suck right in there. They work, they rarely fog for me. You can kind of do the strap at the end. They're great. You'll notice that they're like $3.75, and that is why I love them. I get a new pair every race, and then I throw them in the trash can when I throw my swim cap away. Always easy to replace. I don't feel bad about that. Probably the most popular pair of goggles that exists are the Vanquishers. Those are the second ones. They're for $18.99. That's their price at Swim Outlet. Again, these are going to be all linked. They're really popular. They sell a lot. People love them, swimmers and recreational folks alike. They do have a little bit of padding along the socket so that they're not terribly uncomfortable. I personally hate them. I can't stand them. But they're really, really popular and people love them. So that's great. It's $20. You can give them a try, and if you hate them, it was only $20. The last pair, those are the Michael Phelps brand. I will say I love these goggles. I love them. They fit my body like a glove. They're wrapped right around the side. They give you a large field of visibility. And $32.99, they're on sale right now from $35. They used to be $120 when they first came out, and Phelps was kind of like in his glory days. Same goggle now, $32. I really love this one. It's a really good combination of performance and comfort. So if you don't want to do the socket rocket route and you don't know where to go, I highly recommend those. Similar to goggles, going way back to the beginning of this when we talk about running shoes, I do recommend that people go in and get fit for that pair of running shoe that's perfect for them. Once they figure out that they like a running shoe, they being you've got this pair of these Transcend 6. They're fantastic. You know that you're going to stick with them. As soon as you have that pair that you know you love, at that point, you can really start shopping sales online. A Transcend 6 and an 8.5 is going to be a Transcend 6 and an 8.5 across any board. So that's when, if you see them, even Roadrunner does used sales sometimes. You can get a used pair of shoes for $50 that have been worn once. Great, buy them, buy a couple pair. I do that with my running shoes. I do that with my goggles as well. Goggles the same as wetsuits. I don't, might as well buy them online. All right, that is what I got. That is all of my stuff that I have for gear and training and all of that good stuff. It's only 7:21. I'm impressed. But I'm here. What questions do you have about anything at all? Anything that has to do with training, anything that has to do with gear, anything that has to do with your future, anything that has to do with my beard? I'm here to answer these questions.
Okay, I have something to not ask, but announce. Should we have a drum roll? Okay. We have officially, I believe, okay, I should not jinx myself, but I think officially we've settled in on our annual fundraising event. And I'm super excited to announce it's going to be July 22nd, which is a Thursday. I believe it's going to be from 5 to 9 p.m. And hold your breath. It's going to be a volleyball tournament on North Avenue Beach, right at Castaways.
Huzzah! Like,
everyone should be coming off mute and going, that's awesome.
I need sound effects for this. I need.
Woo!
So you guys, hey, thank you, Beth. That's sweet. Camera's on. You can at least do something.
So we, I never really loved bowling. It's a great fundraiser, but it was never my thing. And, COVID, we ideally would be outside, and dealing with Chicago Park District is not the easiest thing, but we have managed, I believe, I hope I'm not jinxing myself, to navigate that. So soon I will be having Nick push out the kind of sponsorship request. Generally speaking, what we've done, if anybody on the call is working at an agency and is a buyer, what I am asking for is your help. I call you my secret weapons, because we really got the whole thing going with pitching to media sellers the opportunity to network. There's so much pent-up demand to actually see each other. I'm hopeful that this might be a little easier sell than it has been in the past, but it actually has been quite an easy sell in the past. So we used to sell, 28 lanes to, Disney, to Twitter, to Pinterest, and, kind of pitched it as an opportunity for the Chicago ad community to get together, which there are so few. We always have expanded that. So lots of other companies have decided that they felt that it was a great social event, like a I Manage or a Vail, that wanted to come and, support us and also invite employees to participate. So that information, everything's like super hot off the press. So we're in the process of putting together kind of what I would call a one-page sponsorship request. We'll be selling things from title sponsor to food and drink and music, courts and teams. And we even have some very cool ideas in the works, trying to bring some celebrities to be either a team captain or actually play on the team with somebody. So I'm hopeful to pull that off as well. So a lot of cool things in the works, but hold July 22nd. As soon as we can get, a lot of the corporate sponsorship underway, then we're going to reach out to try and start to form teams. And that's something we're really thinking through right now, how to actually form a team. So I'm putting it out into the universe. One, hold July 22nd. If anybody is on the call who thinks they'd like to pitch their own company or, works in media, especially as a buyer, and wants to help me convince, the Hulus and Twitters of the world to support us, please email Nick or myself if you even know how to email, but you always know how to email Nick. So we're about ready to do a hardcore push to start raising the core sponsorships. Also, if anybody knows of any creative ideas in terms of raffle, or I know a really cool celebrity who would love to be part of this, really, we're open to all ideas. Very hot off the press and just starting to think about it. So for now, hold July 22nd for our fundraiser. Think about how you might be able to help. Any help that you bring to close a sponsor goes to your fundraising goal. I always say, you might hit your fundraising goal with one simple email, because sponsorship usually starts kind of building them out now, but, around $5,000 is what we're asking of sponsorships, all the way up to $30,000 for a title sponsor. So I put that out there for you guys to know about and start thinking about. If you have any ideas, reach out to Nick and then he'll loop me in.
And if any of you wants to be the title sponsor for that event for $50,000, you can drink free all night. We promise. Just you, and maybe a drink ticket for a friend. Questions? Any questions? Anybody questions on training, on gear, on fundraising, on the season, on registration, anything?
I guess on the fundraising page, because I just set mine up last night, but just kind of as a placeholder. So I didn't know it was going to go through, but now how do I change it in edit? I didn't get to tell my story or any of that.
So have you been able to go back and log in?
So it then forced me to sign up for it's a different Donley or a different or
Donately? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, it forced me to sign up for there, and I haven't had time to poke around there yet.
Okay, so that's where you go. So once you're signed up there, so Donately is the place that houses our fundraising efforts. So your page is under the Team Brightside umbrella, and Team Brightside is under the umbrella of Donately. And so once you have created that kind of login with your own password, you'll be able to go back in and do all of the edits that you want.
So it should automatically say my page, and I can go and then click on there, and because it was asking me to add bank details and the Team Brightly, the tax ID.
Got it. Okay, so that sent you. So for whatever reason, I know where I have clicked that link as well. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. Let me send you the correct link, and that place, it's really nothing more than creating a password for your own page. Okay. No bank details required, and so I'm so glad you said that part. Let me shoot you an email right after this call. When I hang up, I'll get that to you, and we'll get you in, and we'll get you all edited, and it's going to be great. Thank you for signing up and claiming that page, though.
Thank you.
And while we're on it, I would definitely encourage anyone who hasn't customized their page to do so. We have found that you customize and tell your story of why you're doing it and what is motivating you. You'll raise 4 times as much money.
The people that have been able to do an initial push, a super quick push on social media, I've been really impressed at how much money has come in from one email ask or one Facebook post. I see every donation as it comes through. So you can tell when somebody did a push because you start to get it. There are people that have put out an email or said, hey, I'm doing this on social media, and they hit half their fundraising goal right away. It's really amazing. Really.
Yeah, for sure. If your birthday's coming up, that's a really good one to do. Also, you might not, it might not be really obvious when you're using Facebook, but we see it on the back end who it was actually donated to, and then we credit your page on the back end.
And if that ever doesn't happen, shoot me an email and be like, give me money. And I'll be like, all right, let me find it.
Also, you should be recruiting your friends to join us. Anybody is welcome to join. We do relays, you know, of course, the Northfield Invitational, well, that's not what it's called. Brightside Invitational is super low key. You know, Nick is very relaxed. You don't even have to swim, bike, and run. You can, bike and run. You can drink. We don't care. You know, it's really low key, and we would love to have you. And I know if you were involved in early recruiting, we had the fundraising level a bit higher. So we actually just lowered the minimum for the invitational to $500. Right, Nick? Did I get that right?
You did. $500. You're going to get a dry fit shirt. You're going to get a race. You're going to get a barbecue. You're going to get a medal. And you're going to have memories that will last you your whole life. Oh, yeah. We're also, we're kind of curing cancer too, which is just, low key cool. But barbecue, guys, and a medal. No questions on gear at all. It's fine. They might come up. Totally.
I have a quick question on training, if that's okay.
Yes.
So if we don't have a bike for the next couple of weeks, would indoor cycling be an okay way to train? Or is that just not do it?
100%. It's totally legit. An indoor bike, so a spin class or a Peloton, if the spin classes are open, Peloton workouts that are around an hour, totally fine. And also those emails that I send you, it's structured by RPE, or rate of perceived effort. So it'll say like, go at a 6 for 4 minutes, then go at a 4 for 2 minutes. And then go back and forth. You can replicate that really, really well on a spin bike. Like, absolutely you can. It's a different experience. Once we get closer to season and start doing some longer outdoor rides, that experience gets much, much, much different. But yeah, I'm training indoors right now, so no problem. You'll be fine.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, there was one thing I wanted to clarify too. On Nick's required list of gear, he had a tri kit. That is provided by us. It is required, but provided by us.
Correct. So that's for Chicago Triathlon.
Yep.
We give you the those super sexy bike shorts and run top. If you go to teambrightside.com, you can see, I think the banner headline, you'll be able to see somebody wearing our kit. Meow. We provide those. Those are great. They're designed. They're actually really pricey too. They're good material, really good quality from Hincapie. $279 value. We give it to you because we want us to look alike in the picture. I just want to, if this is your first triathlon and you're doing Chicago as a first time triathlon, or you just want to get your blood pumping a little bit, this is actually a photo of transition. This is the sprint transition in 2019. What a picture. That gets me. It's like, I am ready to be outside in the sunshine with thousands of people riding my bike. I cannot wait for this to happen. I'm vaxxed, I've had snacks, and I'm on tracks to go do a triathlon. I don't know. That's the best I could do. But snacks, that's for real.
So Nick, I'm
That
sure.
picture, it reminded me of a question that I have, which is for the brick training where we bike and then run on our own.
Yes.
Where do you put your bike when you're running?
So, great question. Most of the time, I store it back at my house. So I start my run. Yeah. So I'll start my run from my apartment, or excuse me, I'll start my bike from my apartment. I'll do my biking, and then I'll come back here, put the bike aside, change into my running shoes, and then go out for my run.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be like a 5-second transition between the bike and the run.
No. And so here's the deal. And this is going to make a lot more sense when you start training. I'm going to start saying things like, try and make this speedy. Make this 20 seconds. Make this 15 seconds. Like, I'm going to start using that verbiage because it, like, 10, 15 minutes can go by and you're like, I don't even have my shoes on yet. What happened? You get in, you pick up your phone, you go have a yogurt, you sit down, you light a Newport and you're like, wait, what am I doing? I gotta do a run? And then you go out and do it. So you'll hear me talk about that, like, yeah, let's make this a 5-second transition, but you're fine. As long as you get yourself moving in that direction. Late in the year, very, very late in the year, that is so good. I'm so glad you said that, Molly. We have a couple of double bricks and there's even a triple brick. And my recommendations for that are to go to the track at Montrose with your bike lock. Bike there, lock it up, do your running, jump back on, unlock your bike, jump back on it, bike some more, lock it up, do your running. It's great. It's a special workout. Everyone who's completed it successfully tells me that it's a special workout.
So I'm sure, Nick, some people know that right now you're not living in Chicago. When do we actually get to see you in person?
So that's going to be, I get into town June the 7th. I will be in town. We have a tremendous group of coaches who have been with us for a few years that are going to be leading. They're going to be my assistants the entire season. They're going to be running the group workouts for the month of May, and they're going to be with us for the rest of the season as well. So still going to be great coaches for those group workouts, but I will be there. You'll hear my voice and see me screaming at you. That's going to be in June. On our Instagram page, Team Brightside, or Team Brightside 1 at Instagram, I don't know. If you just look at Team Brightside on Instagram, we're introducing our coaches all week this week. We got all the way until Sunday. We've got a few more, so you can kind of get a vibe on who's what and where, and look for those faces that you'll be seeing swimming by you, biking by you, and running by you all season long.
So that's kind of a new change from prior years if you've been on the team before. So we're going to lean in more to have more coaches, allow a little more social distancing, play, allow people to be more involved, play to their strengths, give Nick some help, all of that. So that's kind of new, at least from the last few years, right, Nick?
Yeah. I
You're
mean,
kind of
we've always
there, but not officially.
Right. So we're kind of like elevating that position to something that's very visible so that you can see us, so that you can know us. Sometimes I get lost in the shuffle a little bit of what we're doing. We got to get to the beach. We've got to get 70 people in wetsuits. We got to get in there. And this is the workout we got to do. So I go in there and I start screaming. I forget to be like, hey, and this is Coach Brett. And he's going to be swimming out with these people. And this is Coach Meredith. So we're kind of really making that a structural thing that I remember to do and do it well, because these people are around and they're wonderful and you should know them and by a first name basis and go out for beer with them and things like that.
Nick, do we think people are actively participating in Facebook? Do we have a good chunk of the team who actually joined the Facebook private group?
That's a great.
Or is Facebook peaked?
I think Facebook is peaked. We are still using Facebook. If you are on Facebook, there's a group called Brightside Try Training. That is our private little lockdown group. People can use that to say, hey, I'm going out on a ride this weekend if anybody wants to come, or I can't swim tonight. Does anyone want to swim at 6? you can kind of get a little bit of advice. There's some last minute announcements that could go there if something gets canceled due to like a thunderstorm or anything like that. We've posted there. We still plan on posting there. We still plan on using email, which is something we've done. We're also pushing a little bit over into Instagram, which we've just had a lot more success with this season. It seems to be what our team is using a little bit more of. But that Facebook group is still there. It is active. It's just not tremendously active. It doesn't explode the way that it used to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it used to be a great spot where you'd say, does anyone want to go swim tonight? You know, on days that Brightside wasn't officially getting together, but that seems to peter down a little. But are we still encouraging people if they want to try and find a buddy, or when they post, are they feeling like nobody responded? I'm a loser. Like, it does feel like it kind of went down a bit.
It does. And I think that what I found is that when people do kind of post like, hey, I'm going out for a ride, does anybody want to come? If there's just no response on it, that might be the last time they post like, hey, I'm going out on a ride, which is really an unfortunate thing. But we have other ways of connecting, with finding people, with talking. They're just a little bit decentralized at the moment as Facebook crashes and burns.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, I wanted to say before we wrap it up, you know, you've done such a fabulous job. We are so thrilled to be able to have you from start to finish, and you're still with us. I'm sure a lot of people have joined because of you. We're all in great hands for all that you've done personally, achieved, and, you know, trained over 570 of us to get across the finish line with 100% success rate. So thank you for everything that you do.
You are welcome. Thank you for saying that. It's very kind. There's no place I would rather be. This is fun for me. I get to do this as my job, you guys. It's awesome. It's awesome. My coworkers are my dear friends, and my athletes are my coworkers. And oh yeah, curing cancer too. Pretty great little thing. 100% finisher rate's kind of cool, but we are curing cancer. But that 100% finisher rate's fucking awesome. All right, guys. If there are no other questions, I'm gonna let you guys go. Let you reclaim the rest of your evening. Go forth. Look for emails from me. If there's any questions you have, please ask me. I'm glad to talk about it. Go fundraise. Go put a push out right now. Say, I went to a gear meeting and it was great. And if anybody emailed me to ask me about bikes today or yesterday in the last 48 hours, I still owe you an email. It's coming.